It's funny. So when I first moved back to Boston, I lived in Davis Square in Somerville. So about the same distance from downtown as I am in Dorchester proper, even though Dorchester's actually the city of Boston and Somerville is its own city. The riding is so much better in Dorchester than it is leaving from Somerville. It's congested, sure, but we have bike lanes now. I mean, to have like striped bike lanes on Dorchester Ave was something I didn't think I would see in my lifetime. Really has changed. The city has changed overall, but to have cycling taken seriously in the neighborhoods it's not something I ever expected. But that said, like, people have other things to worry about in the neighborhoods. Like, the crime does get over-reported. Most people are just living normal life in Dorchester, Mattapan, Roxbury. Like, people aren't walking around worried about getting shot or robbed. They're going to work. They're riding bikes. But those things don't get reported on in the news. Dorchester's the biggest neighborhood in Boston, so it's gonna have the most incidents of more or less anything. I didn't feel torn because I moved with my ex-wife from Northampton to Somerville for her to find a job. She was having a hard time finding a job in her field. She's a scientist in Western Mass. There are obviously a lot more opportunities in Boston. She was interested in going to DC. We kind of compromised on Boston, and she found a good job there. So she moved out ahead of me. Was here for about 3 months until her position was good and we were confident about it, and then I followed her and moved out after. And coincidentally, that was the same year I turned pro. It was 2003. So we lived in Davis Square in Somerville for 2 years, and then the next step was try to move somewhere where we could buy a place. And this is when the market was starting to skyrocket. Dorchester was the neighborhood we could afford to buy in. She found this place in Fields Corner. They had just renovated the T station. It's 10 minutes from downtown. It's going to be easy for her to get to work on the Red Line. Easy for me to get out of town on my bike. I was comfortable with the neighborhood. It wasn't that different than growing up in Brockton. I was comfortable with the dynamic of the neighborhood. So we moved down here to rent it. The plan to buy it once it was converted to condos. We lived there for about 3 months together and then split up. And I was either going to move back to Northampton or maybe just stay on the road for a while, racing. But I thought maybe I'd see if I could get a mortgage for that place. Just almost like on a whim, like, hey, if they give me a mortgage, it'd be great to have this place, I'll stay here. It was in that period where they were just giving mortgages away. If you had a pulse, you got a mortgage. So I got one. And I've been making payments ever since. Now, now it's been almost 10 years, and definitely, it's definitely my neighborhood now,
shoulder.
We are, I don't know exactly how many miles we are, but we're 30-minute by bike from my house in Fields Corner. It takes 10 minutes to get to Milton, straight down Dorchester Ave. It takes 10 more minutes to get from the Boston-Milton town line across the Neponset River to get to Blue Hills Reservation. And then 10 more minutes to get here to the top of the observatory. So Blue Hills is a ski area here that's in basically in the center of a state park. And so Blue Hills is this sort of, I don't know, it's this recreation oasis, this wooded oasis. It's like just right up against the city. And you know, blows people away. We have a ski area. There isn't always snow here. It's got to be cold enough for them to make snow usually, but there's an access road that goes to the top, and there's a weather observatory here at the top. But it's a perfect 5-minute, steep 5-minute climb, you know, where you're in your 39-25, you know, from the bottom to top. At least I am. It's almost like too close to my house, you know, because it's like I want to ride. I have to like go the long way to get here to get enough warm up before I do intervals. But it's just one of those things where people wonder how you train in the city. It's, you know, stuff like this. You just got to know where the secret spots are. But this is not a secret spot. This is where we all come to do our hill intervals. Especially if you're someone with a job who's training after work or before work, its proximity to the city is incredible, and there's nothing else like it around here. So, and then if you're mountain biking, I mean, it's endless. You know, I don't know all the trails in here. It's not all cross bikeable. It's a little bit rocky because it's pretty popular, but yeah, it's just a great spot.
Come out the shoulder.
We are at Elm Bank. I forget what town we're in. Needham, I think. I think it borders actually 2 towns, but I think we're in Needham, maybe Dover on the other side, but basically in the western suburbs. About hour 15 ride from my house in Dorchester. What can I tell you about this place? It's there's like a flower garden. There's an old mansion here that people use for weddings or soccer fields. It would be an amazing place to have a cyclocross race, and I've just kind of always jokingly referred to it as my secret garden. Nobody else did cross workouts really here before until when I first moved to Dorchester and started looking for parks and fields and places to do workouts in. I saw this on the map at a big swath of green and just came exploring, and I was like, man, this is perfect. I can really like a blank canvas here of wooded trails, paved loop around it. The whole thing's closed to outside traffic. There's a huge run-up. There's not a lot of elevation change other than the run-up. It's sort of 2 levels of athletic fields with a giant run-up in between, but This is the place I train when I want to do a lot of pedaling. You know, when I'm doing like threshold-oriented work, like base-oriented 20-minute intervals. Because there's still some turns, but it's not exactly technical, and you're just pedaling the whole time, and so it's a great spot for that. It's the right distance from home. So we're at Franklin Park. Franklin Park is part of the Emerald Necklace, which is basically a string of Frederick Law Olmsted designed parks that sort of line the interior of the city. Frederick Law Olmsted is sort of considered the father of and most famous landscape architect, and he's had his impact on cities all over the country. So it's really special, and Franklin Park is 10 minutes from my house. The spot that we're at here is the old bear dens, bear cages. There used to be bears in this area, fenced in, and it's all dilapidated now. They don't use it anymore. There is still a zoo over to the other side, but it's just a really great spot. But the park itself is one of the best places I've ever been for putting together cross workouts, and it's a huge resource for me to be on the south side of the city and in a part of town that a lot of people don't like to venture to, sort of that intersection of Dorchester, Mattapan, and Roxbury. Franklin Park sort of sits like right in the middle of all that along Blue Hill Ave, and it's just another example of how great it is down in the neighborhoods and how many sweet spots we have down here. People just leave you alone down here. Maybe the traffic cuts it a little bit close, but like, I had someone mess with me one day, leaving the neighborhood, just drive a little close to me, and it just doesn't ever happen. Like, we just live real close. We live on top of each other, and so no one's stressed about you being on a bike. And this person got a little close and was kind of complaining, and I was like, man, all the shit that's been going down in the neighborhood lately, there'd been a rash of shootings in the neighborhood. I was like, all the shit that's been going down in the neighborhood, you're worried about me riding a bicycle in traffic? His wife was in the passenger seat, and she just stopped. She was like, he's right. She's like, that is right. And we were like best friends after that, like sometimes people just need a little perspective, but no one cares no one's trying to kill you. We're busy. People are busy down here. They're not, I think sometimes on the north side of the city where people have a little bit more financial security and are worried about fewer things, they have more energy to care about you and what you're doing and complain about what you're doing, and I find that there's more intolerance in the wealthier areas of the city and in the wealthy suburbs than there is in Dorchester, where people are just living day to day. So I like it more. I always have. So one of the things that I'm really looking forward to post-professional road career is getting a mountain bike and having this resource. I think it will take me years to exhaust this place once I start riding mountain bikes in here. I can't wait to commit all these trails to memory and just be able to come out here and really shred, just for my own enjoyment without any concern for like training or fitness. I just want to come out here and smash things, That's going to be fun. So danger